today I'm gonna talk about language. Many definitions of language have been proposed, and I like that on Henry Sweat, an phonetical and language scholar. He said that the language is an expression of ideas by means of speech sounds combined into words. Words are combined into sentences, and this combination answering to that of ideas into thoughts. The first language we learn to speak is that of people who raised us. By repeating the sounds we hear over the time, we acquire the skills to reproduce words, sentences, and later, when we go to school, we also learn the structure and grammatical rules of the language we speak. An interesting fact that many people haven't thought about is that we can't learn to speak if we can't hear. Yes, listening is the foundation of speaking. The irony of the time we live in, at least in my opinion, is that with the time we listen less and less while we talk more and more. But this is not what I want to talk about today. The reason I'm talking about language today is that language interacts with every aspect of human life in society, and it can be understood only if it's considered in relation to society. Furthermore, language has a major role in shaping our way of thinking. That's why learning a foreign language can help us look at the world differently, to learn about new, different culture. Of course, this is not easy either. I remember years ago, I had a designer from Ukraine in one of my teams, and she lives and works in Bulgaria, and she often got into unpleasant situations. It took time for everyone from the team to adapt, including myself. One of the reasons for the conflicts was that she offended people. What did I learn from her? Speaking another language without connection, the emotional one, can get us into big messes. We may say a word, an expression, grammatically correct, without realizing that it's offensive. Maybe you have heard that we learn language most easily in an environment, and the reason is simply the experience created an emotional story that help us not only remember the words more easily, but also leave an imprint that help us understand the characteristic of the culture has that language. On the other hand, the mother tongue, as we grow up and the influence it has on us, our value system, worldview, and the way we perceive the world, even as an adult. In my mother tongue, the grammar has gender. From a young age, I was taught because of grammar rules that things have a gender. And this is characteristic of all Slavic language, by the way. A few years ago, the European Union adopted the Istanbul Convention of the elimination of gender identity as characteristic. I understand it as a gender equality. How do you think it was accepted in my country, where the mother tongue is based on gender? Of course, it was not accepted. The convention is human rights treaty that establishes legal standards to ensure women's right to be free from violence was not ratified in Bulgaria. In almost every language, there are words that do not have a literal translation in a foreign one, and they are specific only to a place in which they appeared and are used. In Bulgarian language, one such word is a word "женчо." It's used to insult a man. It means that man behaves and looks like a woman. What does it actually mean? He cries, as you know, real men don't cry, pays more attention to his looks, he avoids hard physical work or can do such a work, maybe because he is not physically fit enough. Maybe the point is that the word "женчо" clearly indicates how we think of woman in my country: weak, loud. At the same time, there is a word that is used to insult a woman, mășcărană. It makes sense that given a woman behaves and looks like a man, woman who can change their carso, chuput, or wear pants, don't wear makeup, and so on. As a girl, I was often called one just because I like to play soccer. Of course, this is not considered a proper pastime for a girl. In Bulgaria, it's offensive for a woman to be strong. I also including physically strong, since early childhood to strictly defined rules in life, but our very mother tongue has the necessary influence for girls and later women to know their place. What language we grow up with, words, their values and influence on us. Do we fit the language of our parents? Do we want our children to speak the same language? What do you think about those subjects?